Previously on LitePsych.
So in summary, we're actually not that choosy when it comes to who we date, and we come up with many reasons as to why we should stay in the relationship. And one of which is that it's simply better to be in one than none at all. Today in LitePsych, we're still going to take a look at our relationships through the lens of progression bias, but we will look at its implications, debunk a little bit about it, and find the people and circumstances who may be immune to its effects. Just to recap, the progression bias is the tendency to make decisions to move your relationships towards commitment. And if you missed it out, you can click the card up here to check it out. Let's take a look at some implications of the progression bias. Number one, when it comes to decision making, we do a cost-benefits analysis in our general decision calculus. In relationships, it becomes a question of how much am I going to depend on my partner. People will only increase their dependence if they can feel that they won't be hurt and won't be rejected. This requires the risk of being vulnerable, confessing your feelings, opening up, and leaning on your partner for your everyday needs. Despite the fear of being rejected, it is seen though that we value more the benefits of intimacy and therefore can overlook our own fears about being rejected. The second implication is when we evaluate our relationships. How do people analyze if they're in a good relationship or not? There then exists a bias towards seeing the relationships in rose-colored glasses. In the beginning, people may objectively evaluate how their relationship is going. But as time passes, our evaluations of our own relationships actually become biased in favor, especially as our lives with our partners start to intertwine. The ideal standards model in psychology proposes that we evaluate our partners across three dimensions: warmth, attractiveness, and status or resources. For those in long-term and committed relationships, people are theorized to see their partner in a more positive light and adjust either their ideals or their perceptions in their relationships to lessen the discrepancies and potential conflict. However, not everyone is subject to the progression bias, and there are 5 counter-arguments for saying so. People who have an overwhelming fear of pain or being rejected don't even bother to initiate a relationship in the first place. For example, a taboo topic nowadays when it comes to relationships is defining the relationship. Many are scared of this because it's possible that their potential partner might not feel the same way as he or she is feeling. To avoid this, we usually try little tests or games or subtly giving hints or looking for hints so that we can get an answer without explicitly having that conversation. Although the fear of rejection doesn't necessarily prevent people from being in romantic relationships, it significantly reduces their chances of success. The second factor that counters the progression bias is good looks.
Okay.
This is particularly prominent in online and speed dating, where physical attraction is an asset. Individuals in these spaces have a broader range of selections because there will be more people who are going to be interested in them. Thus, these individuals have the freedom to be more selective and choosy about the people they pursue. It's important to note though that this isn't always the case. Studies have found that physical attractiveness is less effective in the context of being friends or acquaintances. Physical attractiveness is most prominent and effective for individuals who pursue a romantic relationship with strangers. The third counter-argument against the progression bias is sex. Women are theorized to be more selective than men because if it comes to a point where they get pregnant, then they have to sacrifice 9 months of their life caring for that child, whereas a father or a man won't have to do the same. Because of this and an abundance of other reasons, women are shown to be more selective than men. It is prominent too that men show more interest in initiating a relationship. In online dating, for example, women are more likely to get matches, but it is the men that will start the conversation. And while it has been shown that women are choosier, there has been no evidence that they are more or less motivated to further the relationship once they are in one. Back then, we mentioned about the social benefits of dating someone. Individuals with an avoidance attachment might find intimacy uncomfortable. Having said this, romantic relationships therefore are less socially rewarding in their eyes. they are less prone to pursuing and persisting in romantic relationships. They have shorter relationships and have less commitment with the individuals that they do end up dating. And when they face a breakup, they expect the loss of their relationship to hurt less. The last factor to examine when it comes to one's immunity from the progression bias is one's pro-social motivation. This includes empathy, agreeableness, and a communal orientation. Basically, it's thinking about the interests and well-being of others. People with high pro-social motivation may find it uncomfortable to tell someone that they don't actually like them. So this, along with other reasons, make them very prone to the progression bias. Therefore, the opposite is true for those with low pro-social motivations. In the context of romantic relationships, it's easier for them to break up and reject people because other people aren't exactly their concern. That's not to say that they don't care about the person. It's just that it isn't as important to them. With that, we've wrapped up our analysis of our romantic relationships through the lens of the progression bias. We've discovered how it is present even when we just start thinking about who we want to date. And we've seen the kinds of people that may be immune from it. Regardless of where you stand in the spectrum, this is a call for you to reflect on your current or even your potential relationships. Do you think the progression bias has affected you, and how has it? Let us know down in the comments below. Follow us at LitePsych on Instagram and hit the subscribe and notification bell so you never miss out on the latest psychology and simple terminology. This is Jim. Thanks for watching.